at a time when only 13%, slightly more than 13%, less than 14%, fewer than 14% of Americans own stock, are invested in the stock market. And the value of stocks owned are owned by the top 1%. We see this story in today's Financial Times by Eric Platt and Michael McKenzie in London. Shareholders in the biggest U.S. companies stand to record $1 trillion in cash this year. $1 trillion. As blue chips' concerns over the global economic outlook have diverted cash away from investment and is driving a boom in buybacks and dividends. Now, I would submit to you that it is not concern about a global economy that is causing companies to say, you know, we're not going to build new factories. We're not going to put money into R&D. We're not going to develop new products. We're not going to give our workers a raise. We are going to divert all of the profit that we're making into dividends because, you know, the reason I say this has nothing to do with the global economy is because when Reagan changed the rules of compensation, the IRS rules regarding CEO compensation in the United States and senior executive compensation in companies, to make it legal under the tax code for a company to reimburse their employees with stock options, which can be converted at capital gains tax rates, so they pay taxes or less than working people do in terms of federal income tax and state income taxes. That, you know, that door got opened back in the 80s, and it has been getting wider and wider and wider ever since. This is one of the main vehicles through which big corporations have become cash machines for billionaires and for multimillionaires, for the very wealthy in this country. $1 trillion in 2015, the Financial Times is projecting, will be distributed to shareholders in the United States, or at least among the biggest U.S. companies. Obviously, some of their shares are held overseas, but $1 trillion distributed to shareholders. Are we going to see an increase in the minimum wage? You know, even dramatic increase in the minimum wage would not cost $1 trillion. Is any of that money going to make its way to average working people? Is any of that money going to be used to develop new products, to build new factories? No, because they're doing just fine making their stuff in China, making their stuff in Vietnam, and selling it to you and me and offering us credit cards so we can continue to buy it. There are, in fact, the BlackRock's global chief investment strategist says there are tremendous amounts of cash on the books. And you have this very slow nominal growth in most countries, so there are fewer places to deploy that cash. So, in other words, hey, well, let's just take it ourselves. Let's just give ourselves all that money. General Electric on Friday, which has not paid taxes in years, General Electric announced that they were going to return $90 billion to shareholders over the next 3 years in dividends. See, if you own stock, many companies do what's called distributing dividends. They take part of their profits and they distribute it to the stockholders. Receive that, and it's money. It's income. And when you receive that check, that income is taxed at the capital gains rate rather than, if you've held the stock long enough, taxed at the capital gains rate rather than at the ordinary income rate. And, you know, so, hey, you pay a maximum, I think it's 20% right now. This kind of thing is what I want to have at the center of this upcoming presidential debate. How is the economy rigged? And what is the Democratic candidate going to do about it? Now, I think we know what the Republican candidate, whoever it is, will do about it. I mean, Marco Rubio today has, according to the New York Times, Rubio makes it official. He's running for the White House. Now catch this. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida told his top donors today that he will be running for president in 2016. He didn't make his announcement to average working people. He didn't make his announcement to whoever you might consider his constituents, he made his announcement to his real constituents, to the people that Marco Rubio really works for. As a Republican senator, his job is to be a shill for the rich people in this country. Period. End of discussion. There's basically nothing else that Republican senators are supposed to do except be shills for rich people. Oh, rich people, a lot of those rich people got rich with fossil fuels. I mean, Koch brothers inheriting a fossil fuel empire from their father. Rex Tillerson and buddies over at ExxonMobil. I mean, the list goes on and on. Oh, so they made a lot of money from fossil fuel. We Republicans will have to say that there's no such thing as global warming, so those people could continue to make obscene amounts of money. Oh, the fossil fuel industry is getting huge subsidies from the United States government, hundreds of billions of dollars a year, not only in direct cash payments to the fossil fuel industry, but also in exempting the from things like the Clean Water Act and protecting the shipping lanes across the Atlantic and Pacific for our fossil fuel industry, shipping coal from the Midwest or for even Virginia and Ohio, West Virginia and Ohio through the Great Lakes, trains across the western part of the country to China. We are paying for that. You and me. We are subsidizing that. We are subsidizing the safety and the security of that. It's our naval fleets that are protecting those ships. The same with the oil coming from Saudi Arabia and other countries in the Middle East. So that's the job of a Republican senator, to protect those people and their interests. Now, what's the job of a Democratic nominee for president or a Democratic senator? I would say, if back to the base of the Democratic Party, it would be to protect the interests of working people. And the interests of working people have been left on the table for 35 years now. President Obama has, great effort to try and get the minimum wage raised to $10.10 an hour so that these companies, the Walmarts of the world, the McDonald's of the world, can't run this scam anymore where you and I, the taxpayers, pick up a part of their cost of their labor by providing food stamps and housing and all kinds of, medical care and things like that to their employees. And it is a scam. This is a business that should not be considered a business model because it's a scam. It's a business model that requires, welfare payments coming from you and me, people who are fully employed, because their employers have chosen to pay them so little that those people still live below the poverty level. They still can't get by. Republicans, what do they have to offer them? Oh, they cut off long-term unemployment benefits a year and a half ago. That'll fix everything. And then what do you see go up? Suicides, home foreclosures, divorces, spousal abuse, general violence and chaos in society. That's what Republicans have to offer. So what are the policies? Now, let's keep in mind, Hillary Clinton just announced she's running for president in a video announcement that had no ships, no tanks, no flags. The only flag was just you saw it, you glimpsed it as it passed by, but it wasn't, Hillary Clinton standing there with a flag in her hand kind of thing, or standing next to a flag. None of the normal military stuff, none of the, Yahoo, whatever. Instead, very straightforward. I'm here for you, she's saying. So what would we like out of a Hillary Clinton candidacy if that happens? Well, it is happening. What position should she be taking?
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
I would start out with, let's roll back Reaganism, roll back Reaganomics. Let's admit we've made a 34-year mistake.